Time to see my old mate, the mechanic, and get these summer tyres on. So let's go for a drive. Okay, let's head off to the mechanics. So this is a thing I do twice a year, summer and winter, change the tyres over. And the guy who owns this mechanic shop is a neighbour of mine just around the corner. So he's our local guy and his shop's about 5 minutes away. As a tip, when you're living in Japan, if anybody comes to your house to do any sort of work, they're fixing your taps or whatever the case may be, it's expected or it's normal to shout drinks and food. So if you have a tradesman over and they're doing work, it's sort of the cultural norm to supply food and drinks. But when you go somewhere else to get something done, like I am now with getting my tyres changed, so it could be any service, getting your hair cut, going out to eat, tipping and things like this is not done in Japan. Most people know this, but this is the Australian way, and people that look after you, it's in the case of the mechanic, I give him a tip anyway, but this is not the normal thing that's done. This is just something that I do, and every time I see the mechanic, I always get him a 6-pack of beer and his favourite cigarettes. So let's go and do that now. So especially people you rely on in Japan, especially if you're a foreigner, you don't want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere with sort of nobody you know, and your car's broken down and things like this. So you really should look after your mechanic, and you should look after the guy that delivers stuff, because you never know if things go missing. You might need someone to check up where things are and things like this. It's not only just a nice thing to do, you get a benefit as well out of it. I know at some stage I drive older vehicles, this thing's going to break down, and when things break down, it's going to be in the worst possible location at the worst possible time. So it's really nice to get a good relationship with your mechanic and look after him. Every 2 years you need to take your car to the mechanic to get what they call the Sharken, which is the road registration or the road tax, I think it's called in America. So that varies depending on what car you drive, and it's always best to use the same guy no matter where you're living, and build up your relationship that way. And it's always good to check up on your mechanic a couple of times a year, and changing your tyres over is a good excuse to do it. Everything in Japan is relationships, and building up relationships with people that provide a service to you should always be done. And you never know what happens. Sometime down the track you might need to buy a new car, or you might need a new K-truck or something like that, and if you let people know, opportunities can come up, and if you don't have the relationships, that's very difficult. So let's go pick up some cigarettes. Okay, so ciggies have been picked up. I just had a joke with the lady at the counter. You can't fault Japanese politeness. You have to be over 20 to buy cigarettes in Japan. And when it gets scanned, you have to confirm that you're over 20. I said, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not of age. And she said, oh, really? And I look like a decrepit old man. So you can't fault their politeness, can you? So next stop, pick up some beer. So we're almost there. And this place is sort of like a discount sort of alcohol place. And they sell beers by the carton and stuff like that. So here we are, Alcohol Takagi. Okay, let's go in. Ah, it's shut. So opens at 10 o'clock, so I'll have to wait 10 minutes. Okay, we're open. Let's go in. Go straight to the beer section. Okay, looks like this bad boy. Ebisu. Arigatou.
最低が1628円。372円とレシートの返します。
はい、ありがとうございます。Okay, beer is secured. Let's go see my mate. So my mechanic, he's a bit of a cat lover too. He's got a few hogoneckos around his house, and Fuchan, it's a big white cat, and I found out recently that he hangs out at my mechanic's house the most, and he sort of comes down to my place when he's bored or something. But he got Fuchan actually from the mechanic shop. Fuchan was hanging around the mechanic shop when he was a kitten. So not long to go, and we'll be at the mechanics. I just hope he's there. I forgot to call before coming, but normally he's working today. So here it is up on the left. And rock and roll. Okay, heading out. That's the tyre change done for summer. So I won't be squeaking around town. I don't know if you could hear some of the wheel noises before, but those studless tyres tend to dig into the road a lot. so they need changing. So to get your tyres changed over where I am, they charge 2,000 yen, which is about $15 US. So although you could change your own tyres, it deprives you of a chance to build relationships, and sometimes it's nice to have someone change your tyres as well. But this is what it's all about in Japan. Building friendships, connections, and building them up over time. Having good relationships with people, it just doesn't happen all of a sudden. You have to build it up over time. Looks like I've got to stop here. So while I'm here, if you just see ahead, they're widening the road another 2 meters. So it looks like the government has bought land alongside the road, so the people who own those houses would have got some compensation. And the reason that they're widening the road is this is coming off the new Inter that's at my place, so they're expecting a lot more traffic. So the Inter is the off-ramp on the motorway, and this is why this area has doubled at least in housing prices since the announcement. So it basically means it's a lot more convenient for families to live in this area now, because it's just a quick 30 seconds to the motorway, and that just makes it more affordable instead of having to live in apartments in town and things, and people can have a bit more space. And this has really been noticeable over the last 12 months. So I think this law is called eminent domain in America, where along main arterial roads the government has first options to develop along the road. So even though you might own the house next to the road, there'll be so many meters that the government has jurisdictions on that they can buy at any time. So this is one thing to keep in mind when you buy along main roads, is this can happen. So they can take a couple of meters, and you get compensated. I don't know what the compensation level is, but they'll get a little bit of money out of it, but they're going to get more traffic. Coming up soon, our community will be paying their dues. So there was like an election that was held last Sunday, but I couldn't go because the cafe was open. But there's like an election, there's 40 households in my section of the village, and every year they have a vote on who the next boss is. So there's like a change of administration basically for the little village. And a month later is where everybody pays their dues, which is called kuhi. So my area, everybody pays $250 or Aussie dollars, so maybe about 180 US dollars a year, and that money gets put towards paying the bills of the community centre, buying tea and salt and whatever's needed for the maintenance of the village. And our task will start up now that it's spring. So we've got waterways to clean up, we've got the shrine to do, we've got the azaleas, we've got a few jobs that will be coming up sort of every month or so, and I'll be doing videos on that. If you haven't seen what we do in our community, I'll put a couple of links to videos from last year so you get a bit of a taste, and we'll be doing that again this year, and I'll be filming. So it's about 10:30, I'll be home in a minute, and I've got some logs to cut up, finish cutting up the logs and do a bit of maintenance on my tiller. I used it to dig the potato field, but it wasn't in good condition, so I might try and pull the carburetor apart and have a look at it and give it a clean out. And hopefully it's all good. I might just be stuck with a bit of scum or something like that. I'll clean it out, I'll get the WD-40 on it and see what happens. So I'm back home, gonna have a big cup of tea and then get into the wood. So anyway guys, as always, hope you liked the video.
Let's go back home.